Sankhe, Vice President, Institutional Equity Research at Elara Capital, and he covers the stock and the company very, very closely. Mr. Sankhe, thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us here on ET Now. So the management of Waaree has clarified and confirmed that it can bypass the countervailing duty that the Trump administration has announced. But your thoughts on this development and what kind of impact could this have on companies' earnings going forward?
See, definitely what they are saying that they will source countries where duties are lower. But at the same time, this is okay for a few years. But eventually, if you look at the model capacity in US, is now close to 60 gigawatt, and their annual demand is 40 gigawatt. So they want to protect their industry. So maybe in the year's time, they will also do some kind of duties on the models only. Also, now currently is only on the solar cell input, but eventually few years down the line, they will target solar models also. So to encourage the domestic manufacturing. So it's going to be difficult. And at the same time, the cells availability outside Southeast Asia is also not very high, and the cost is also very high. So so eventually they will target those countries where duties are lower. So it's going to be a difficult time for all the exporters who are targeting US market.
Right, okay, but Mr. Sankhe, in light of the imposition of the duties, could execution be a problem going ahead, given that Waaree's presence, the present USA capacity is not adequate to meet the current order backlog?
Definitely, see, if we look at US cell capacity is hardly 4-5 gigawatt, as against annual demand of close to 40 gigawatts. So they need a cells to be imports on the sales side. But again, if eventually because of increase in data center AI related power demand, this 40 gigawatt annual demand could go up to 60-70 gigawatt in US in the next 3 to 4 years. So they need a significant module capacities there. So those companies like Waaree who are setting module capacity there will get benefit there. But at the same time, sales sourcing will be in the limelight, because they want to encourage their own cell capacity also, US. And now currently their capacity is hardly 4 gigawatts. So to encourage their domestic backward integration, I think eventually they will focus in this segment also, so that the entire they will have entire solar value manufacturing in place. So exporting to US is going to be difficult. If you are manufacturing there, you might compete because of this high CVD duties coming in. But I don't think that module capacity is not significant like China or India. Like India is now currently 173 gigawatt solar module capacity, as against demand of 45 to 50 gigawatt. The US is not that kind of a demand supply mismatch is still there. So those manufacturing there in US is going to benefit in the next 4 to 5 years.
Okay, so manufacturing in US is going to benefit the company. But do you think that the fall and the decline that we've seen in the stock is only temporary in nature, and that this problem is a near-term headwind, and that the long-term prospects of the company look good?
So for domestic solar cells and models is definitely in the oversupply situation. So margins are coming down. But in the next 2 to 3 years, because they have got very strong order boost, with around 75-80% order book has input cost passed through. So they will continue to show good earning growth in the next 3 to 4 years. And because of this cell capacities are not available internationally, and China is a major supplier of cell capacity, and most of the countries, European, US, is not comfortable sourcing cell input coming from China. So domestic industries with want to export sales outside India or targeting other countries like European or US stand to get benefit in the next 3 to 4 years. But eventually 29-30 demand supply situation slightly not in favor of solar cells or modules manufacturers. So by 29-30, we might see a significant drop in margins from the current levels, and eventually that will have a negative impact on the companies like Waaree and Priya.
Right. So, Mr. Sankhe, on the back of all of these factors and this 126% tariff at play, are you changing your earnings estimates already at Elara Capital to factor in this execution trouble, or would it be too soon to do something like that?
Yeah, definitely. Because of increase in input cost, non-DCR models where cost pass-through is there, but DCR models is facing some sort of margin pressure. So the people still were expecting maintaining 5 to 6 cents per watt kind of margins, and we have brought down to close to 3.54 cents per watt. Eventually, because the order book is very strong, next 2 to 3 years, they will continue to get deliver a strong earning growth. But as I said earlier, 29-30 onwards, the earning growth will come down drastically because of oversupply in the solar cells and modules segments, and the margins will come down drastically. So next 2 to 3 years till FY28, earnings will grow at 35-40%, and 29-30 onwards we'll see significant drop in the earnings, and there will be significant the margin pressure because of oversupply kind of situation.
Okay, so that's the word coming in on Waaree, a stock that has fallen nearly 16% in the last 1 month. Mr. Sankhe, thank you so much for taking your time out and sharing your thoughts on the company. On that note, we need to slip into a very short break.